to the broader GTA, I think, was at the heart of that as well. So a lot of change around the league. Actually, a much bigger, more effective web presence and social media presence was all part of that. So a real change in identity as some new people have taken over for people who have retired out of the league. So it's nice to see that change and that evolution. Looks like the skaters are taking to the track right now, so we're about to hear the starting whistle and get this game underway.
Speaking of a bigger media presence, you can follow along with us today at hashtag FNF Derby 2018. Sorry, that's FNF Derby 2018. You can follow along with us on Twitter and share or Instagram as well, and share your posts and pictures. And we will try and take a look at those throughout the day. So if you want to talk to us announcers and tell us what you think about what's happening, or just shout out your favorite skaters, that's the place to do it. Hashtag FNF Derby 2018.
Yeah, throw up some questions. We might have some new viewers as well as some new skaters. So throw some questions out there. And we've just got Kylan Wren, number 992 for Queen's Court, breaking out as your lead jammer in this first jam of the 20-minute bout that is now underway.
She calls it off after what looks like 4 points that are being given to her. So that is a 4-0 jam for, that's Queen's Court.
Taking the old hit it and quit it approach.
I've been told that in these 20-minute games, that is the best way to rack up points and force your opponents not to get any, because 20-minute games go by very, very quickly. You don't want to wait to score points. So apologies to all you following on the stream. We announcers can't actually see the jammers as they are lining up on the jam line, so it's going to take us a little bit of time to let you know who is who. But it looks like we have the Dirty Farmers jammer out pushing in the front of the pack. That is number 7989.
Oh, sorry, bad call from me there. That was Boa Constrictor, who is your lead jammer. Now she got passed by Queen's Court jammer and decided to call off the jam. That was Butthurt Tart, who ended up passing Boa Constrictor. So Boa does the right thing and calls it off before Butthurt Tart can steal any points.
But not before she scores one of her own. So that means 4 points for Queen's Court right now and 1 for the Dirty Farmers.
We do have a player in the penalty box or in the penalty area for the Dirty Farmers, and that is how Queen's Court ended up scoring that point.
Kyla Wren, 992 from Queen's Court, gets out with lead again very quickly. I can see that she's going to be a jammer to watch in this game.
Fear Liz is your jammer, number 16 for Dirty Farmers, and she's down on the inside of the track just as Kylo Wren comes blistering into the back of the pack and shredding right through without much difficulty to put 4 more points on the board.
Oh yeah, Fearless has now passed the star to her pivot. So that is something we don't often see in Freshie games. It's a little bit more of a complex strategy that gets taught later. Oh, no, I apologize. She's taken the star off her helmet but has not passed it because it looks like her pivot is in the box right now. That's unfortunate for her.
And the Dirty Farmers are getting into quite a bit of penalty trouble. They've got 3 skaters in the box, including their jammer. So this is a power jam for Queen's Court, and they are racking up the points. Kylo Wren has shredded her way past the pack a couple of times and already has 19 points in this jam. Taking advantage of the power jam, she isn't very likely to call it off. She just posted another 5. This is a massive jam for Queen's Court.
That is Fear Liz, who is all alone on the track right now for the Dirty Farmers. She's trying to meet up with her friend who has just returned from the box. But we still only have a few Dirty Farmers blockers on the track, which is making it quite easy for Kyla Wren, 992 from Queen's Court, to get out and around yet again.
She just put up another 5. She's up to 29 already on this jam. 33-1 is your current score.
4 more points for Kyla Wren. Sorry, that's 5 more points for Kyla Wren.
There's still 1 skater in the box for the Dirty Farmers. Kylo on another approach, but time has run out. Grand total of 34 points. What a huge jam, and creating a giant deficit for Dirty Farmers to try and dig out of. And I see that their coach is calling a timeout and just wants to reset her team a little bit.
That's a good call from the Dirty Farmers coach. This is these 1-minute timeouts are a really great opportunity for teams to collect themselves, focus, and try to stay calm and not let the other team's points sort of get in their heads. So they're going to take that opportunity now, which gives us a really great opportunity to talk to you about some of our sponsors here for this weekend. So roller derby cannot happen without the help of the sponsors that we have today. Our sponsors today are the Pie Commission. Wrapped in flaky, all buttery pastry, we make our pies from scratch in-house using only natural ingredients with nothing that you can't pronounce. You enjoy a savory or sweet pie with a local craft beer at both locations. Fresh or frozen to take home. 2 locations at Trinity Bellwoods and on the Queensway in Etobicoke. So that is the Pie Commission. Complete Energy Solutions is another one of our sponsors. For all your heating, vacuuming, and air conditioning needs, energy management, and mechanical needs, call Complete Energy Solutions. And it looks like our timeout is completed, and we are getting ready to go again.
I noticed over that timeout that they took the 1 point that the Dirty Farmers had on the scoreboard off the board, and I'm not 100% sure why. They did. Their jammer did pass a skater who was serving a penalty. But I'm not sure if she had actually made her way around the pack and was in scoring position before that happened. At any rate, Butthurt Tart is your lead jammer on this one, having gotten through the pack on the first try. Death from Abroad is jamming for the Dirty Farmers.
She gets out, and she's coming around again quite quickly, but not before Butthurt Heart can hit the pack and pick up some points.
You can hear her team yelling at her to call off the jam before Death from Abroad can score any points, but she did manage to pick up 2 there. Got to be very aware of where the other jammer is. That's a huge part of the strategy, is being able to call off the jam at the right time.
One of the skills that derby skaters pick up once they've been skating a while is how to both pay attention to the pack, pay attention to the opposing jammer, and pay attention to what their coach is trying to tell them from the bench.
Yeah, and one of the advantages I see that the Dirty Farmers have enacted here is that they've got 2 spotters right around turn 3. So they can provide some additional advice to the jammer as they pass along, instead of just getting your advice from one spot. Katie Glitter Sparkles breaks out of the pack first for Queen's Court and is your lead jammer.
She is coming around the pack and hitting the pack quite hard, but she is able to evade them on the outside. So that is 4 points for the Queen's Court jammer. She is going to call it off, and that was 5 points for the Queen's Court jammer. 5-0 in that jam.
Little tricky there to see who was jamming for Dirty Farmers. It was AK, who's the captain of their team, but she had removed the star penny from her helmet. Made it a little tricky to figure out exactly what was going on there. But Dirty Farmers are back on the board. They've got 2 points. That was a 5-point jam, as you mentioned, for Queen's Court. They're way out ahead with just under 14 minutes left to play.
We have the Queen's Court blocking core up front trying to defend against the Dirty Farmers jammer, but they cannot hold her, and she gets out for the Dirty Farmers' first lead jam of the game. That is number 16, Fear Liz, with the Dirty Farmers' first lead jam. She is coming into the pack, and she is excited to score some points, and she manages to evade the Queen's Court blockers on the outside. 5 big points for the Dirty Farmers, and those really are big points for them this game.
And the Queen's Court is just in some serious penalty trouble, much like the Dirty Farmers were earlier. They've got 3 blockers now. Actually, their jammer as well. Jammer and 2 blockers sitting on the bench. This is exactly the situation that the Dirty Farmers were in earlier when Queen's Court posted just a ton of points in one jam. And
Dirty
let's see
Farmers
what Fear Liz can get done here.
Oh, that was another 5 points for Fear Liz, thanks to some brilliant offense from her blockers.
So a 15-point jam has narrowed down the deficit. Queen's Court still way out ahead, but that was a great jam and a great way to pick up 15 points and not give up any. So shredding away that deficit.
I'm sure the Dirty Farmers are very pleased with that jam, and all they need is a couple more of those, and they're going to be right back in this game.
We've still got the jammer for Queen's Court serving a penalty, so it's a power start here for Dirty Farmers, and see if they can take advantage of that again and tighten this one up even more.
They do have all their blockers on the track, though, so they will be playing full defense against that Dirty Farmers jammer. They're going to make it as hard for her as possible.
And they're certainly being effective right now as they've knocked the jammer down, trying to figure out who that is for you. It's 1979, that's Death from Abroad, but they do pick up a penalty, and that's number 82, Legend Barry, who's skating over to serve some time.
And the Dirty Farmers jammer gets out while her blockers are playing some passive offense for her on that jam. She's coming around the track very quickly and completely evades even notice by the Queen's Court blockers, picking up another 5 points for the Dirty Farmers.
Just a huge gap around turn 2, and she skated right through it. No problem.
Meanwhile, the Queen's Court the jammer has passed the star to their pivot, number 992. That is Kylo Ren.
That's Kylo, who had the 38-point jam earlier this bout. Very quick skater.
The Dirty Farmers coach is signaling for her jammer to call it, but I'm not sure that the jammer sees or hears her. There she goes.
And Butter Tart picked up a penalty just at the end of that jam. You could see a little bit of frustration. I'm not sure if she was angry with the call or angry at herself, but we've got 9 points on the board in that jam for the Dirty Farmers. Queen's Court managed to pick up 4, even though they had their jammer serving time at the beginning of that jam. So still another 5-point shaving off of their deficit by the Dirty Farmers.
We have one blocker from each team in the penalty box right now. That leaves a little bit more open space for the jammers to make it through. And the Queen's Court jammer does. She is lead jam. That is number 212 from Queen's Court. That is Katie Glittersparkles. She is coming into the pack quickly, and her blockers play some great offense for her, and she picks up 4 points.
Boa Constrictor is jamming for Dirty Farmers, and she gets through the pack to pick up 4 points. Here comes Glitter Sparkles. Katie Glitter Sparkles again on a big advance and rams right into the back of a blocker, picks up a penalty there. And it's a power jam now for Dirty Farmers.
That gives a really great opportunity to their jammer, Boa Constrictor, to pick up some points. She is all alone on the track. She's now approaching the pack in turn 3 there, and her offense is really helping her out. She didn't even get touched for a second on that pass there. 5 points for the Dirty Farmers.
And you can see on the screen, this thing is tightening right up, where we had a score of something like 51-1, and now it's much tighter than that. And we've just passed the halfway mark of this bout. We've got under 10 minutes left, and Boa Constrictor once again gets right through the pack and posts another 5. A big jam for her.
The Dirty Farmers are only down by 14 points, so really, and they still have almost 10 minutes to go, so really anything can happen in these 20-point games.
Boa Constrictor gets through the pack, but has a little bit of trouble staying in bounds. Meanwhile, Katie Glitter Sparkles gets through and picks up 4 points. So both jammers are being effective in this one. Boa Constrictor posting a few more points, but here goes Katie Glitter Sparkles on the inside, totally unnoticed by the Dirty Farmers blocking team.
Derby is one of the, actually the only sport I can think of off the top of my head where all the skaters on the track are playing both defense and offense simultaneously. It makes it very difficult sometimes for the blockers to both block the opposing jammer and play offense at the same time for the jammer on their team. It's a very tricky thing to do, and some of these fresh skaters I've been very impressed with so far.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can tell that some of the players just have a little bit more track awareness than others, and you see this at almost every level, really. But it's especially evident at this level with some fresh skaters. When someone has that extra track awareness, they can be just so much more effective when they're skating.
Really, it makes all the difference, and you hear that from coaches too. It's a hard thing to train someone to be aware of what's going on the track. It's not like a skating skill or a blocking skill that you can practice over and over again. So we have jam. What is this jam 11, I think, starting here right now. And it is Queen's Court jammer. That is 992 Kyla Wren. Again, having a great game. She is lead jammer here.
And they're really depending on Kylo. They're still out in front. And Fearless, number 16 for Dirty Farmers, started as your jammer. She's taken off the penny, but was unable to pass it, and it looks like she's going to pop it back on her helmet. Hopefully she puts it back on her helmet, because if she scores any points, she's going to need to be wearing that thing. Meanwhile, Kyla Wren finds just the tiniest little gap, breaks through the pack, scores 5 points, and calls off the jam. She posted 10 points in that jam. Dirty Farmers unable to get on the board, and it looks like their coach is calling another timeout just to regroup and bring this thing back under control.
Probably a good choice for the Dirty Farmers. They were really in it for a while there, and there's just a couple of jams in a row where they had some difficulty getting their jammer out. So taking a minute to regroup and refocus and talk about their game plan is probably going to help them out in the next couple of jams. While we are in this timeout, it's a good opportunity to talk about Hogtown Rollers League Charity. So each year, Hogtown Rollers share a portion of their proceeds with community charitable organizations. And this year, we are fundraising for the Little Rescue. Little Rescue is dedicated to help the growing number of turtles in the pet trade find proper homes and educating the populace on their correct care. Above all else, giving a voice to silent creatures. So if you want to know more about Little Rescue, you can check out their website and feel free to donate to them, or really any funds that you give to Hogtown Rollers. A portion of that will go to this charity as well.
Yeah, they do a lot of fantastic work, and at some of Hogtown's home games, they do bring in a few of the turtles that they've rescued, and they're just adorable.
Oh, that is a really big draw to come in and see some Hogtown Rollers Derby.
And you can catch the next home game right here at Ted Reeve on August 11th. Looks like the timeout is over. The officials are getting ready to start this thing back up again. Let's see whether Dirty Farmers' timeout pays off. There's only 6 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, so they've got to turn this one around quickly.
Unfortunately, it's the Queen City Jammer, number 857, Alex Slammer the Great, who gets lead jam. But it is 1979 from Dirty Farmers, Death from Abroad, who is out and close on her heels.
Alex Slammer the Great, though, gets through the pack. She was your lead jammer, got through the pack, hit it and quit it, posts 4 on the board, and calls off the jam before Death from Abroad can catch up at all. Queen's Court just protecting their lead on that jam.
Yeah, that's going to be one that the Dirty Farmers aren't going to feel so great about, but that's okay because they have another opportunity to take it back right here. We have one more jam still to come. Just under 6 minutes left to go in this game, and as we said, these 20-minute games, you never know what can happen. Anyone can win. Oh, we have the Queen's Court jammer. That's Kylo Wren again, out and lead.
At the same time, blocker Legendary for Queen's Court picks up a penalty, so they're a little bit short-handed on this next pass. Luckily for them, though, they do have lead jam position, and Boa Constrictor has only just now gotten through the pack.
That forces Kylo Wren to call it off, which is probably a safe call considering that the Queen's Court is up by 45 points now on the Dirty Farmers. 35 points, sorry, I can't count.
I want to shout out to one of our sponsors, the Pie Commission. Wrapped in flaky all-butter pastry, they make their pies from scratch in-house using only natural ingredients with nothing weird that you can't pronounce added. Enjoy a savory or sweet pie with a local craft beer at both locations. 2 locations to serve you best, Trinity Bellwoods and on the Queensway in Etobicoke. That's the Pie Commission. Thank you for your sponsorship.
That sounds absolutely delicious. Meanwhile, the Dirty Farmers jammer has taken a penalty. She is going to the box. That is number 16, Fear Liz. And the Queen's Court jammer has been given lead jam.
And that's Baido. We haven't seen Baido jamming yet in this bout. Sometimes when a team has the lead, they can switch it up and give someone else a chance, especially at this fresh skater level. It's nice to give people an opportunity to switch up roles. When you do have a little bit more of a comfortable lead, you can take some risks and give someone else a chance. Baido, though, does get slammed and blocked hard, falling down to her back, but she's back up and pushing hard and is now through the pack. So after being knocked over, picks up 5 points.
That is thanks to her blockers, who are playing some really nice train offense on the inside line, opening up that lane for her to get through and get those points. And she is back coming around again.
You can see her blockers have just moved right over to the side. They let Baido approach the pack and then jump back in and try and push all of the Dirty Farmer blockers away. She manages to get through. She's put up 15 points, a very effective jam for her first one of the bout. Time is winding down now, and Queen's Court is just knocking on the door of the century mark here, sitting at 99 points.
That's right. That's quite a big deficit for the Dirty Farmers to come back from. In fact, I think this is the greatest deficit of this game. Queen's Court is up almost 50 points on them. 51 points on them.
It doesn't help that Dirty Farmers Jammer is serving a penalty right now. That's a power start then for Queen's Court. And if they continue to take advantage of these little situations, we're going to see them victorious at the end of this one. A little too early to call, but certainly seems like they've got a distinct advantage at this point of the bout.
And KT Glitters from Queen's Court does get lead jammer, but Liz Fear from the Dirty Farmers is back in attacking position. Oh no, she is taking another jammer penalty. That is very unfortunate for Dirty Farmers. Their blockers are going to have to do they have a really tough job now to try and hold the Queen's Court jammer back.
And just as that penalty was called, Katie Glitter Sparkles came through and picked up 5 points. She's just gone around the outside and picked up another 5. So Queen's Court really dominating in this jam. Time is winding down.
They have now passed the century mark. They are at 109 points and still collecting. That's 5 more points for KT Glitter Sparkles, bringing Queen's Court's total to 114.
A nice little inside-outside move there from Katie. She only had 2 blockers to get around, and she went from the inside of the track and psyched them out a little bit, straight to the outside. Fear Liz has rejoined the track, but the blockers for Queen's Court were aware of it, and they stopped her, and time ran out on the jam anyway. So here we are now at 114-48. That's a big 15-point jam for Queen's Court.
This is a very impressive showing from Queen's Court Roller Derby. From Queen's Court, the Queen City Roller Girls from Buffalo, New York. They have quite a little ways to travel to get up here to Toronto, whereas our Dirty Farmers only have to come down the 401 from Durham.
Could probably take just about the same amount of time, though, given Toronto traffic. I want to say one thing about Queen City Roller Girls, though. They have probably the best facility that I've ever seen down at the Riverworks in Buffalo, which sometimes gets a bit of a bad rap. Riverworks is a stunning facility that they have to presumably practice in and certainly compete in. A beautiful indoor track, a full sport facility there. A really remarkable place if you do plan to travel, or if you are a skater, you can look forward to competing in Buffalo.
And their jammer has now got lead jammer in this jam as well. She is out and around and beginning her scoring pass.
That's Alex Slammer the Great. She got knocked out of bounds and called off the jam there. We're very late in this one as we just have 30 seconds left on the clock, and that time continues to tick.
We will probably have just enough time for, unless someone calls a timeout, we might, we'll see. I think we're going to have one more jam to go in this game.
So you can see, even though the game clock is winding down with 5 seconds left, the jam can go a full 2 minutes. So pay attention to the jam clock if you want to know when this one is going to wind down.
And that is the Dirty Farmers jammer with lead jam to end this game. They're not going to want to call this jam off anytime soon. They're going to want to go the full 2 minutes and get as many points as they can. That is number, who is that? Death from Abroad, I believe, with lead jammer
correct
for the Dirty Farmers.
And we've only got one skater now on the track for Queen's Court, as almost the entire team is serving a penalty, including the jammer for Queen's Court.
Getting more than 50 points in a jam has never been done, but Death from Abroad is doing her best to try to beat that record right now.
That's right. We did see a pretty magical finish in the previous bout. I don't know what Death from Abroad is going to be able to pull off here, but certainly with 14 points already and still a minute left on the jam clock and a very, very clean pass, she's doing her absolute best.
She is not slowing down at all. She is skating laps at this point and going by nearly untouched by the Queen's Court blockers. She's coming in again for yet another pass, getting a little help from her blockers this time, as most of the Queen's Court blockers have come out of the box.
Yeah, it looks like Queen's Court was back at full strength just at the end there. Your unofficial score to end this one off is 115-70. A big 22-point jam from Death from Abroad at the very end. Definitely not enough to pull this one off. We saw a 22-point jam from Boa Constrictor from Dirty Farmers, but nothing quite compared to that very early jam. I think it was the second jam from Kylo Ren, 38 points. One of the biggest I think I've ever seen, actually.
Yeah, that's a hard one to come back from. You're right. The Dirty Farmers did have some sections of that game where they really made a push to reach the Queen's Court team. But it was Queen's Court who stuck it out and came out with the win. And congratulations to them. They will go on to face the Toronto Vipers at 1:40 later this day.
I'm Trouble T signing off from bout number 2.
And I'm Trial by Fury. Thank you so much for sharing this boutcast with me.
Stick around, plenty more Derby to come right up until 9 o'clock, the championship. Stick around on layer9.ca.
So the bubble's behind by a game. In addition to having a broken ankle, we had the longest 20-minute game of my life. Like literally every jam, there was an official timeout to check with the scorekeepers or something. So it was. They're only starting game 2.
Oh wow.
Like yeah. So the Are you good for 1 o'clock? I think I had you on, or was it you that I had on for the juniors? Okay, so the juniors isn't happening, but one of the games from the bubble is moving over here at 1 o'clock, so if you still want to do the house for that, that'd be great.
Okay, so I'm not on the 220 game, but
I was coaching that first game.
Oh, here, just take a picture of it.
It's the longest game of my life.
Yeah, I'd have to have my phone for that.
Yes, I am, yeah.
Alright, so
because I had 2 house announcers scheduled, so we just have to fill in stream.
And I jumped in for Rex on that one, so he's going to take
Yeah,
Mike that one.
Yeah, he came over and checked in.
Thank you for that.
So who's on the house call for the next one?
Viola and Lola.
Okay, so it's gonna be me and does anybody want to jump on with me? On house?
I just did the last 2 and I've got the next one, so I'm
Okay.
gonna go grab something to eat.
Tea!
Natalie drives a lot better than I do in a car. Robin, say that here. Might not be the best thing.
Microphone number 2. Number 1, number 2.